Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am Patrina Wisdom, author, speaker, and movement leader, and today I get the incredible honor of speaking and sharing with you my really good friend, April Stickelman, otherwise known as Wellbeing by April. So April, I just wanted to first off thank you for being here. And we're actually in Belize at my Pure Abundance retreat right now as we speak, beautiful Belize. And April is one of my facilitators. She does an incredible transformational experience here called Radical Reset. And she does so many things that I just want to give her an opportunity to kind of tell you a little bit more about her work, and then we'll dive in a little deeper. So share with everybody who you are and really what it is that you do. What's your mission, and how do you actually create transformation in the world?
So who am I? That really is a tough question. It really does change. It's ever evolving. And I am a spiritual being taking physical form.
That's right.
And my passion, my mission, my vision is to provide space for people to heal, grow, evolve, and contribute to the world in a great way and just live in their fullest expression. And my work as Wellbeing with April has been evolving, and it will continue to evolve.
Yeah, and speaking of evolution, right, because we all start someplace. As you know, I kind of started in the massage therapy esthetician industry, as did you, right? And then that evolves into a whole other form of transformational work. So tell us a little bit how it's evolved for you, because I know that when I first met you, probably 9 years ago, you were doing massage therapy and you were teaching yoga, and now, like with the workshop that you facilitate here at our retreat, I've seen your work evolve to such a level, and I'd love to just hear a little bit more about that process.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like our paths are very parallel in different timelines, because my first business was a touch of therapy, and
wow.
yours was a something.
A women's retreat.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a vision of a wellness center, retreat center, since that time when I opened business and started working with individuals one-on-one and realizing my passion for really supporting them when they're not here with me and supporting their way of being. And that's led me down a path of, getting all the certifications and really growing into a healing arts practitioner and yoga teacher training. I did advanced yoga teacher training, Reiki, theta healing, chronic healing.
You've got quite the toolbox.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
Just how your work has evolved. And so I know we started with the massage therapy and all the yoga stuff, and then where are you now? Don't mind that, Matt.
Yeah, so from 2010 to 2014, I worked at the Chopra Center, and that's when I really bloomed into a healing arts practitioner. And I realized the involvement of putting on retreats and events, and I got to participate as a volunteer as well as an attendee and got to experience different aspects of it, and I really love it. So that experience in seeing all the people transform and experiencing retreats for myself and just connecting with other healing arts practitioners, the whole spectrum, that it all adds to my awakening and wanting to give that to others. Somebody asked me, how often do I teach yoga? And I said, really, I practice yoga, and sometimes I like to share that with others. So
I love that. My journey was similar with the yoga, that I didn't go to yoga teacher training to become a yoga instructor. I went to yoga teacher training to really become a yogi if you will. And I feel like that's exactly what you model, is that you're just walking in that yogiism. Yes, I made up a word. And then other people want to participate in that, right? So I think that a lot of what I'm hearing is that you're putting yourself in spaces and places and programs that help to enrich this journey that you're on. And then as you're getting these tools, that you're going out and kind of expanding on your offerings with your well-being with April, right? So what I'd love to find out from you is, what was the catalyst for taking you down this healing path?
So many. There were a lot. Where do I begin? To begin, I really have always been a nurturer. And as a child, when we would play, I loved to play teacher, doctor, nurse, whatever. So I've always been a nurturer in that way. And I struggled figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, really. And when I was 18, my dad found out he had lung cancer. And, well, I guess maybe 17, because I was 19 when he passed. And it was almost 2 years that he battled that. And seeing him go through that, experiencing that, it, along with the natural, I grew up in a home that was, we were just out of control children. There was a lot of emotional disturbance, or it wasn't crazy. Like, I know I had friends that had it way worse. Yeah. However, I just felt imprisoned and trapped. And so the seeking really started there. Okay. And then fast forward to when my father was going through the cancer, I just felt like my mom was a hardworking mom. She had to go to work. I had to go to school. And my dad never really got to live his fullest. He was a musician at heart. That was his passion. And to pay the bills,
did something else.
And then I saw him wither away. And so before going to college to study psychology, I decided I would get a higher paying job to pay my way through college, and I just landed with massage therapy. Wow. So I thought I would do that first. I thought it would be a perfect marriage of body therapy, mind therapy. So, as I said, so many catalysts. However, I've been a seeker, a nurturer, full-heartedly along the way. And I had, I guess, another major catalyst when I was when was it? It was about 8th grade. I was already getting into drugs and alcohol, and I was like, God, are you real? Please show me a sign. And I literally had a rush of comfort come over me, like an eternal hug, and that I was not expecting. And it was so visceral, so real, that I knew that was like, yes.
The spirit, it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I started going to church.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what else to do,
Yeah.
So I got baptized at the Baptist church, and I started going to church, and I slowly, over the course of my high school years, figured out how to let go of, I was trying really hard to let go of cigarettes, alcohol. I was smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking alcohol.
The whole thing.
Regularly. And then I had an incident. One of my friends got in a fight at a party, and he was all bloody. Went to go take him to the hospital, but I jumped in the driver's seat, and the cops pulled in. And that was my second DUI of that summer, and I had just turned 17.
Wow.
So in that moment when the cops pulled in, I just started bawling. And I just said, I looked up literally. I was like, okay, God, I see. I'm done. Not going down this path anymore. That was instantaneous. That was that was an instant transformation right there. And I didn't know it until the next morning. I just went into the sheriff's department bawling, and they said, we would have to keep you in overnight, and the women's jail cell is full. So
wow.
We're calling your mother. I just lived down the street. I don't think it was full. I think they just knew. They were like, this girl's crying. She needs to go home. So the next morning, I woke up and stepped outside, and the sun was shining, and I just sat down on a step and just felt relieved. A big weight had just everything had lifted, released, and it was a spontaneous healing.
Wow.
And divinely orchestrated. And I never craved another cigarette, not weed, not alcohol. I even kept hanging out with the same friends. They were passing around a joint or a bong.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, thanks.
It's amazing how powerful our mind is.
Yeah, and they were all like, she's acting weird. She's not the same. They thought I was a narc or something. You know, back then weed was...
Everyone was a narc, right?
So, so I was okay with that. I felt so good. I felt so freed. And it was about 6 months later that the fog had lifted and I felt so clear. I've never gone back. I mean, I've
almost like you were chosen.
in my adult life. It's like, okay, now I can come to it with a different perspective. So I have tried weed since then, just from a different perspective, but I still never want to get high, and I barely want to drink anymore.
Sure. Yeah, so something in you completely shifted.
Absolutely.
In that time. And then, so what was it that made you then, aside from your own, like, hey, I want to get healthy, I want to, really focus on my wellness, but what was it that made you then want to go serve others as well? And again, we talked about how your work's evolved. So it's not just massage therapy and yoga. You're now doing like deep transformational work.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it is I'm very empathic. And I feel the world like, I feel the world. And I don't know how else to describe it. And it's just my path. I feel like, I always want to help somebody when they're in pain, we're not alone.
Yeah. So if there's someone out here listening to your story that have maybe been where you've been, had some of these same experiences, what would be a piece of advice that you could give them, right, in your 30 plus years of wisdom, that would help them to maybe get out of a situation, a dark situation, like we're going down that path, or maybe even to really identify their passion or their calling? What would be kind of some words of wisdom for that?
Like I said, it's very individual.
Yes.
And the words coming to me are the only way, what is that? The only way to the other side is through.
It's through.
Yeah. And it's really a process of seeking for everyone. Like I said, that spontaneous, it was a divine intervention.
Yeah,
and
100%.
That created the spontaneous healing. It was because I seeked and I said, okay, God, if you're real, show me a sign. And I just never stopped seeking. Right. So spontaneous things happen. I see things as divine intervention, divine planning, divine organization. And if you're not spiritual, there's another way.
There's always a way.
That's just what I've experienced. So there is always another
And what
way.
I'm hearing is just ask. Ask for help, whether it's asking a person, whether it's asking spirit.
And here's the thing, if you're not spiritual, it's really connecting with your unconscious, that consciousness that moves through us. So I like to speak in that way too. I try to keep that out of it to be more universal.
Yeah.
And there's obviously something that is connecting us from the studies that we've done and the tools that we can use to measure frequency, etc. So we're learning a lot how we affect each other, how information passes through us. There's obviously some type of a conscious connection.
Yeah.
And so if you're not spiritual, you can just connect with your unconscious. You can just talk to yourself, talk to your internal self.
Even when
right?
people tell you you're crazy for doing it.
God is, we are God.
Yes.
That energy that moves through us is the divine creator.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's,
I love that because
That's the way
that's
I
part
see
of
it.
what I talk about with my sacred self-care is, treating yourself impeccably as if you are God, because we're a reflection of God, of spirit. So I love that. And so
that's what I love guiding people through, is connecting with that, that space within that actually guides everything we do.
yeah,
So
that knowing, right? That universal knowing.
Yeah, and when we're not aware of it, that's when we fall into patterns that we can't break. Like, why am I still doing this? I don't know, I can't stop. Give me a glass of wine,
Wow.
Well,
Yes.
there's a difference between, I need a glass
Using it
of
as a
wine,
crutch.
right? Or, okay, I've had a stressful day. I'm going to sit here and breathe, right?
Absolutely. And that's what April teaches. She teaches you tools for replacing maybe some of those more negative and not so healthy habits with options that are more healthy, like breath work, like yoga, like taking yourself through processes to really reconnect with your true self. So I want to thank you so much for being here today and for being here at the retreat in Belize for the second year in a row, right? Second year in a row. And it's just been an amazing experience working together. We've had so many so much commonality in our work and our vision. And so it's just an honor for us to be a friendship, but also to be collaborating in business. So I appreciate you. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Living Room Wisdom. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Patrina Wisdom, and join us next week for another incredible interview with inspiring women just like April. All right, see you soon. Namaste.